maybe on the book, retired 8 years, but am I gonna have the house paid off? I don't know. You're right about that.
If I'm not,
No, you're good.
Okay. This is being recorded, and at the same time, I just want to give the framework of an oath and a de jure government of we the people, and I want to say thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for upholding your oath and being professional. And as a side note, contracts, words, spells, all that kind of stuff, I don't want to say thank you because I'm agreeing to what you do. At the same time, I'm in a habitation of accepting that preference. Yet at the same time, I appreciate you as a man of what you do, because I'm not saying that there's just the overwhelming de facto of government and all that of, well, there needs to be more, in my perception, of how to stop, to say simply of de jure people needs to start being men and women, start doing their jobs, checking the creation of the government, of the de facto, and yet I still want to...
You say that you're kind of thankful, but then not thankful.
It's not that I'm not...
It's like there's like you appreciate certain parts of it, but other parts you don't. What parts do you appreciate? What parts don't you appreciate?
Of the people, where you uphold the respect, where they're able to be. I get where if you're ignorant, regardless of how BS it seems, ignorance is not an excuse, because if you have ignorance, then you don't have a right, because you don't understand.
And it goes both ways,
and
as far as the citizen and the police. And I agree with that part. You know, and we were just talking about it earlier. Just because you're a police officer doesn't mean you got to put yourself above anybody. We're the same. We're the people too.
And
you know what I'm saying? Once we take this off, we go home.
Yeah.
And now what are we? We're just like anybody else.
Yep.
But actually, when we're in uniform, we're still like anybody else.
Yeah. Now you're upheld to a higher standard. We're upheld to a higher standard. Because it's what the team, the.
But how about the government part? What part is that you don't know? Say the government.
The de facto has defaulted on their oath, and they have gone above and beyond multiple times.
That's why we the people, we actually we control. If it gets that bad, guess what? That's why there's revolution.
And yet when you look
at that bad, that's why the power is always to the people.
Well, this is a perspective that I have. It's not about a revolutionary war. That's already happened. People already died. Now it's about the mind control. Because when you define government, it's mind control. When you elevate it, God. When you de-elevate it, mind control, to that of, it's the same thing. So it's a perspective, really, and sure, I thank you for, like I said, thank you for doing what you do, and I do appreciate all those, everything. It's just when there's someone that has an ill intent and not keeping their oath, and they have another oath somewhere else, it's we all have to get off the high horse, or get off the horse, because some in their morals and values won't understand the difference, because they've been brainwashed, or that's their cognitive dissonances.
The bottom line is this, I would say, is either way, whether you have the government up here, not that I believe they're up
yeah.
As far as the government,
or layout,
you got the smaller government, which would be like police, and you got the people, right? The bottom line is within each branch, the people, the police, the government, everybody, you got people, individuals in all of that, and you got some obviously that are on their high horse, and others that are in between that are not on their high horse, and that's what checks and balances is all about. That everybody keeps each other in check, and the bottom line is all we can do is look out after each other. You know what I'm saying? That's all we can do. And if you see something that's not just, then you speak out on it. You do what you got to do. So even within police, if I see somebody that's a little out of line and they're not being too respectful, we call them on it. Hey, we don't need to go there. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be somebody. There's not all bad apples. There's always a good apple somewhere in there that's going to keep things maybe in check, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And that's even with the citizens, though. You know what I mean? With citizens, you got a lot of bad apples too, but you got plenty of good apples.
I'm going to abrupt you because I see your passion and and I see we're at a point of respect in of itself, and I see where you're open in that, yet I'm going to abrupt you into saying there's the perspective that you know the difference. Some, as the de facto, has created a dissidence and a deception of those in the de facto education that we trusted as the de jures in of themselves to that of educating, yet you shouldn't be educated when you're a king or a queen. You should be enlightened. You should never be educated, yet education, depending on the teacher, has the morals, and that's how is it going to be, to that of the actual fact of I embrace life as empowerment. I don't go and disempower myself, and I preview myself on other collectiveness and research of it, and how do you define what is the unproven. You do it yourself, you prove it yourself. Why do you need to prove anything of an exterior? Yet I do want to say, for the record, because I respect you, because this should be in of itself a document that could help you later on. What is your badge number and what is your name?
Officer Ruan, R-U-A-N, badge number 165 with Apache Junction Police Department.
And like I said, maybe I'm just privy, and at the same time I'm coming from the perspective that I don't have children, son and daughter. I don't have a business. I don't have that perspective to sacrifice. I'm not saying I'm not going to sacrifice my not well-being, because that's not the proper tense. I'm not going to sacrifice whatever fancy word it would be to that of living on the streets with my rights, to that of an upside. I might get somebody so pissed off that where I can't get a roof and food for the rest of my life and call it prison, and then call that justice. Yet there's a point where, how does this all stop? From the person, regardless of a jury, the joint endeavors of men and women, to that of the person, and I don't recall the fancy word for that, of men and women still correlating to the understanding of commerce, and of its simple way of saying, to that of the reality. And now I do understand why they teach fallacy in school, and the same thing of, like, as another perspective, as a private perspective in a sense, the criticalness of them teaching spells and the grimoire grammar of the spells, because it's all spells, and then they teach you that you should beat yourself up if you're going to call yourself a witch, or somebody else is going to beat you down because of Satan witch trials, even though that's what we all do. And the last note that I will leave you with, simultaneously, simply one thing is happening. Call it what you will, as a mantra, as whatever you can theme it as. Look at that. Take simply, simultaneously, one thing's happening at the same time, and be that your base, or however the fanciness of, I'm attempting to correlate to the police in a sense, and I don't know the terminology for that, yet your default, and then reestablish everything from that standpoint. And you get more of the actual answer of what life is. Because it's funny, the law knows what life is. The courts will tell you the secret of life. Are you gonna listen?
All right, sir. What was your name?
Craig.
Craig what?
Berjati.
Berjati, all right.
But of course,
you say you didn't want to get fancy, but your last name is fancy.
Of course. Oh well, that's not because I'm not doing the U.S. corporation. We wanted to say Berjat or Brogatti. I'm still going from the etymology aspect. Berjati, it's Italian.
Yeah.
As a little privy, G, there is no G in Italian. It's only J. So how you pronounce it, that's where American Brogatti, but it's really Berjati.
All right, sir. Nice talking to you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right.